with you as a kind of a quick statement, and then we'll open up for questions.
For a statement, guys and ladies, we're deep into training camp. Um, we've gotten a chance to see the guys quite a bit now. No major injuries, getting better daily. I guess I'll take your questions. That may be better.
All right, Jeremy, you're leading off. Scott Beatty on deck, Joey Wagner in the hole.
Good morning, Lovie. I wanted to ask you about Devin Witherspoon. I know he may have surprised some people last year, but what did he show you last season as a true freshman, and how has he kind of progressed?
Devin is probably one of the most competitive guys we have on our team. Be hard for me to say someone to mention a name that's more competitive than him. He's not the biggest guy around, so he's always had a chip on his shoulder. Last year he came in a little bit later. He's caught up quickly and physical. A lot of things I'm talking about, describing him, if you look at him, you don't think that, but he's physical. He's a lot more comfortable playing. Just love the way he plays the game. He's a big part of what we're doing around here.
And the younger guy on the other side, Marquez Beeson. I know you guys said you kind of wanted to not rush him in his recovery, but how has this extra time impacted him, and what have you seen out of him through camp?
Well, first, as far as injuries are concerned, when a guy is ready to go and they've been cleared medically, we put him in. Until then, we don't. Marquez has fought back through. It's been about a year now since he injured his ACL, but it's not like he didn't have a brace on, anything like that. So he's close. And now it's just about, improving his skill set, working on technique and those kind of things. And we like everything he's doing. He's going to be one of our guys. I mean, everybody knows that. He has a knack for intercepting the football. He did that last year in training camp. We've seen some of the same plays this year. Again, good competition. He needs all of the practices, and we're giving him plenty of reps right now.
Thanks, Lovie.
You're welcome.
Okay, Scott Beatty, Joey Wagner on deck.
Hey, Lovie, since we're going to be talking to Brandon here, if you could remember back to preseason last year, what stood out to you about Brandon, and what would you say now? What's the difference between Brandon Peters in a year and his progress?
Well, last year when he came here, even though he was new, he had played football, a lot of football. He was one of our older guys. So he stepped right in, extremely intelligent, bright. So what I remember about him last year is that he was a new guy, but he jumped right in and gained the trust of the football team right away. He moved into that role, starting quarterback right away. And throughout the year, loved everything about what he did. We lost, I think there were 3 games we didn't have a starting quarterback that we lost. So we're different without him being out there. What he's done now is a lot more comfortable. He's not using a map to get around Champaign, knows what's expected of him. He's grown in the system like everybody does from this experience of being in it. As I've said before, he can make every throw we ask him to. He's got a good arm. He's a little deceptive. He can trick you a little bit with his speed as he's running football. So again, can't wait to see him play this year.
And are there maybe throws this year that you can ask him to make that you didn't ask him to make last year, or any physical things that you've noticed that he's stepped up?
No, I can't really sort of say that. I loved him last year. I love him right now. Once you get to be a player like him, it's not like you're going to make a lot of big leaps as far as who he is. Last year, he can make the throws. He can make the throws this year. We have a few more weapons that he'll be throwing to. The offensive, everything around him is better. So that should make his game overall better too.
All right, Joey, you're up. Robert Rosenthal on deck.
Lovie, I hope you're doing well. You mentioned Brandon settled in a little more just on campus, away from football. What does that do for somebody, mentally, where, like you said, he knows where Green Street is. He knows the Smith Center. This is a place that, is probably a little more home to him than it was a year ago. How does that just help you, settle in the big picture?
I think it's probably a bigger deal when you first get here. You don't know where to go, what to do, all those things. You're not familiar with your surroundings. And, I've made a few different stops along the way. I just know there's a comfort level you have when you don't have to worry about all of those things. You know your routine, you have it down, and you feel real good about it. And an older player like him, when you believe in your routine, nothing, as a quarterback, you don't want to be surprised an awful lot with blitzes that you don't know about. And I think just in life, it's the same way a little bit. We all want to know what's expected and what our routine looks like each day. He's definitely in that position. I know you're going to talk to him in a little while, and he's one of the guys.
He's kind of a quiet guy, at least with us, but it's my understanding he really kind of lets a little bit of that personality out on the field, and competitive guy. I mean, is that a way that he gained the trust of those teammates, or how did you kind of see that develop?
Yeah, I mean, the definition of a quiet guy, I mean, none of us talk to a lot to people that we don't know and maybe that we don't really trust that much, know them well enough to just start spilling the beans to them always. He's not a guy that's cursing out his teammates every day, but there's a fire about him that I've seen. He's as competitive as anyone around. So I like his demeanor, like everything about him and our guys. Yeah, as a teammate, he's more, he's a guy that you feel like you can go up to and get to know fairly quick.
Thank you, Lovie.
You're welcome.
All right, Bob Rosenthal, and then Bob Osmassen.
Yeah, Lovie, my question is about special teams. The season wore on last year. You went to more and more walk-ons on like kickoff coverage and things like that. I believe at one point you get a kicker and 10 coverage guys, and 6 of the 10 were walk-ons. And then numbers-wise, in special teams and coverage numbers, your special teams were top 10 in a lot of metrics and things like that. So I want to know about some of these guys and what that decision was of, hey, these guys can help us here and these can be specialists here, and why you went with so many walk-ons there.
Just kind of listen to you a little bit. If I'm a walk-on, man, I'm a walk-on. That description didn't sound real good to me. They are. You can only have so many guys on scholarship. But for us, on what made us go, to those players, they were the best that we had. And I think there's a role for a lot of different people. And we're not one of the programs, you look to Nebraska, they have almost 140, 150 guys, whatever, Ohio State, Michigan, some of the programs have a lot more. With us, our numbers are down. And when you get a couple of injuries, you need everybody on that roster. But the guys that play, just because you hear them mean that you're just going to naturally play. We like these players. You look at some of the guys, the Mike Marqueses of the world. They've started games for us. And so happened they're not on scholarship players right now, but we just kind of look at the skill set a little bit. And a lot of the guys you talked about have made a lot of plays for us. And guys that eventually warrant, scholarship consideration too.
Is it something that they maybe embrace in that, say the guy's third string Sam linebacker, but he can really get on the field and help on a kick coverage or punt coverage, and so they pour themselves into that and want to stand out there?
I definitely think that's the case on how guys should look at it. We're going to play maybe 2 guys at every position. A lot of times we'll just play the starter pretty much most of the game. So you got to find a way to help the team. And a lot of the younger players too, you're kind of talking about a couple of guys who've been around here a while, but sometimes the first thing you can do is just be on special teams and get a limited amount of plays and show us as coaches that you deserve more. Again, normally that starts with the special teams, and that's what we've seen from some of our guys here. Last year, there were some players, guys like Shimon Cooper, Tariq Barnes, and some of the younger linebacker safeties. We should see them more involved with our special teams this year.
And last question on that is a guy like Ryan Mead. You decided, I think it was the Michigan State game was his first game. That, is that a type of thing where a freshman walk-on guy is like, wow, we've got to get this guy on the field, and he moves into that spot?
Well, I think, if you get on the field, you've done something that we like in practice, and we want to see it, in a game situation. Sometimes it's as simple as the injuries may dictate giving a guy an opportunity. And when you get that opportunity, you need to show something. And that's definitely how we look at it. So we're always talking about guys, you get one play, prove to us why you should get more. And a lot of times guys take advantage of those situations.
Good, thanks.
You're welcome.
Okay, we'll wrap it up with Bob Osmussen today. Players are starting to roll in here. So Bob, go ahead.
Okay, Coach, you've got two new guys in your staff on defense this year, Coach Lindsay and Coach Davis. How have they fit in? What have they added to the program? And tell me the challenges for them not having spring ball.
It's the reason why, Bob, I hired both of them. I liked them as I interviewed with them, their knowledge, just how I thought they would fit in with the core, how they would lead their groups. Made a decision to break it down a little bit more this year I'm talking about just, some younger players of just getting more individual instruction. Love what they've done. Again, they both have great knowledge, energy, detail. So it's kind of worked out right now the way I wanted it to. Can't wait, of course, to take other steps with them. And yeah, it hurts a little bit when you miss spring practice, but they've caught the guys up fairly quick.
Anything else, Bob?
Kind of went silent there. I was talking, Ken, I didn't quite know, and I didn't see anybody on the screen moving. So I thought I was just talking to myself there for a while, but I guess now I see some faces moving a little bit. So
Yeah, we're okay. Well, Coach, appreciate your time. We'll get you back on Friday with a scheduled day off tomorrow, and then we'll move on to some players here. So appreciate your time.
take care.
Thanks, Lovie.
All right, we'll be bringing in Casey Washington here in just a moment as we switch out.
How's it going, guys? I don't think the video is on.
Oh, yeah, there you go.
How's it going? Am I on?
You're all set. I think
Okay,
you're good. First question, Casey. Practice maybe mid-November last year, there were about 3 healthy receivers, like you and Caleb and a few others. Now you're probably out there with like 12 guys. Talk to me about the difference between having a really thin wide receiver room because of the injuries and now having a lot of depth there.
For sure. It's definitely a big difference from last year. This year we have way more competition, or we have more depth, obviously. So that adds competition, and it just makes all of us better. So being out there every day for practice makes us compete harder and go fast and hard.
What are you seeing from some of the younger guys and the new guys and the transfers and everything else? How do you think the room is looking?
I think it's a different room for the better this year. We got more guys, and the younger guys look good. Everybody's starting to click together, and we're looking better.
And how do you feel about your second season? And last year was kind of a whirlwind, and you're out there suddenly, and you're starting some games, and is it settled down a little bit for your second year?
I think mentally was the biggest thing from last year to this year, and just being able to slow down and just play football, because at the end of the day, it's just football. So just being able to slow down and process things easier, I think that has helped a lot from the year.
Yeah, thanks.
Hey, Casey, hope you're well, man. I know you were new last year, and so was Brandon at the time, but how have you seen him be different, or what is different about him in a second year with you guys?
Um, if anything, I just think he's more locked in this year, just because he's comfortable with what's going on and he knows who he's throwing to. He knows his guys, and I know we got some new guys, but we're clicking, and we look good out there. And it's just good to have multiple guys this year that we can take shots to and be successful with. You know.
How do you guys feel with him as your quarterback? Like, what did he show you guys last year?
I think just knowing BP, just how calm he is, and I mean, you see him walking around. That's the same calm that he is on the field. So like, as a receiver, it kind of calms you down to know that your quarterback's out there and he's in the heat of the fire and he's not really going through the ups and downs. He's kind of always consistent. You know what you're gonna get from him.
Thanks, Casey.
Thank you.
Hey, Casey, thanks for doing this. I'm just curious, what was last year like for you? I mean, you kind of got thrown in early, got a lot of playing time. How did you handle that? What did you learn?
If anything, more than anything, is like I said, just the mental aspect of the game. Coming from high school, you're just kind of out there playing football, and you get the schemes, the coverages, and just everything that hits you at once. That's, for me, it was a lot to take in, and I mean, it was a great learning experience. I'm thankful that I got to get on the field, and I think it's helped me, if anything, this year, just slowing the game down to be able to play football.
You got to Champaign maybe a little lightly recruited out of high school. I mean, did you have a chip? Did you feel like you proved anything to people last year, or how do you look at that?
I definitely have a chip on my shoulder, but I don't feel like I've done anything yet. So I just got to keep working, compete every day, and get to where I want to be.
Where does that chip come from? I mean, what makes that up?
I think I just personally, I'm a competitor, and when you feel kind of like people turn away from you, kind of take it personal sometimes, and that kind of builds a chip over time.
Thank you, Casey.
Thank you.
Hey, Casey, good morning. Thanks for doing this. I guess a question that I have kind of relates to that play in the Red Box Bowl where Brandon dove for the first down and he was called short. I know that kind of has become a thing for this team and something that maybe fans too really bought into Brandon Peters after that play. Can you just kind of explain what that play may have said about Brandon Peters and how much that play helped the team just be like, this is our guy, this is our quarterback?
For sure. I mean, quarterbacks, people all know, they don't really get out there or most guys, there are quarterbacks out there to do it, but most quarterbacks aren't diving headfirst for the first down. And I think just that play says a lot about who he is and how he's willing to put himself on the line for the team and in that situation, sacrifice his whole body for the first down in a tight game. So, I mean, I respect the guy a lot and I mean, I'm glad to have him as a quarterback, and this year just looking forward to just executing and doing things right, winning games.
As you move forward into your sophomore season with him as your quarterback, where do you think the biggest area of growth in terms of rapport with not just you, but the rest of the receivers, people are going to see between Brandon as his first year here and his second year here?
I think just the chemistry during the offseason, us throwing together, getting in work, I think that's going to show on the field and just having, chemistry with us, even off the field, just, getting together as friends off the field. And I think that comes back on the field and helps all of us.
Thanks, Casey.
Thank you.
Hey, Casey, what's on that hat? What's that?
That's a little Nike pinwheel right there.
Looks pretty cool.
Thank you.
Go ahead, Joey. I'll go after you.
You said you feel like you haven't really done anything yet. What's maybe share a to-do list, or if you don't want, but what's kind of on that growth process for you? What do you want to prove and to do?
For me personally, this year consistency is a huge thing for me, and I just think every day, as long as I'm consistently getting better, I think that's one of my bigger goals, and just being able to prove you got to prove yourself every day, and that's a part of consistency, and that's just what I want to do this year and show every game, every play, every snap that that I should be out there and just compete, man. Just
Is Is it easier to do that without having, without being that information overload, like you said last season? I mean, it's more of a physical thing. Does that make it easier?
For sure. Coverage recognition was huge for me last year. Got in the film room, looked at DB's tendencies, everybody, what they're supposed to be doing, where they're at, and just slowing down the game. I think this year is more of a physical thing, and just make sure I'm, like I said, consistent in the right spot, the right time, and just make the play.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Casey, won't follow up with the catch in the Wisconsin game, the diving catch. Did you? I mean, they initially called it incomplete, reviewed it, and did you know you caught it? Like, or were you feel like, oh, maybe I trapped that, or what were your thoughts as soon as that, that was immediately called incomplete?
I knew from the jump it was a catch. I felt that I kind of like fell on the ground. The ball might have touched, but I knew I had full control of it. So I was confident that I had it as a catch. But it was good that they reviewed it and turned it around. But I knew it was a catch.
Was it a little weird for you? Like, I mean, obviously in high school you don't have review, so
yeah.
Like, were you thinking through that? Like, wait, this is college now. I might get this catch back.
For sure. When I looked back up at the screen and I saw him replaying it, the refs were like going over it and everything, and it was kind of cool to see that because you watch that on TV in high school, growing up, and that was me on the screen, so that was kind of cool.
Right, and then I think you would have had a reaction if they wouldn't have overturned it.
For sure. I knew it was a catch, and I had turf in my eyes. I deserved that catch, so I just feel like if they would have turned that around, I'd have been a little hot. But good thing they called it a catch.
All right, thanks.
Thank you. Thank you, guys.
Thanks, Casey.
Have a good one.
Thanks, Casey. Appreciate it.
What's up, guys?
What's up, Brandon? Hey, thanks for doing this, man. I'm just wondering, last year you got here and what were you practicing with the team for a month before you started a game?
Yeah.
What was that like for you? What was the challenge of that?
Just learning a new system and trying to get comfortable with it. I mean, that was the biggest thing. But as far as playing football, you only have a month to prepare. So like every team rep that you take, it's really important to get those live reps. So, as long as you're getting those in, I think that's a good way to prepare yourself.
So now that you're in a second year with these guys, with Rod in this system, how impactful is that, or how does that kind of play out day to day?
Yeah, I mean, it's huge. having a year under your belt, you feel more comfortable. We've added some new stuff. We've taken some stuff out. So, I mean, there's always some moving parts and changing parts, but for the most part, it's the same. And having those guys back, having that comfortability level, knowing they know what they're doing, and being on the same page is also, a huge plus.
And the last one, how different is your conversations with Rod? He said you speak up a little bit more. What's that? How did that come about?
Yeah, I think it's important to always have, constant communication between the OC, telling him what you're seeing, what he's thinking, what you're thinking, what you're comfortable with, what he's comfortable with. Always having that constant communication is good. So, I mean, I don't think it's really changed much, from when I first got here. I was always open to him about, what I didn't like, and, what I thought about stuff. And he's always been open to what I've had to say as well.
Thanks, man. Appreciate it.
Yeah.
Hey, Brandon, thanks for doing this again. So I saw that you worked out with Kurt Warner over the off season. So I'm just wondering how that came about and what did you guys do together?
Yeah, so I work with a QB guy out of Detroit, and he has a connection with Kurt. They've been to a few things together. So, it was a cool opportunity for him to link us both up. I actually went down to Arizona for a weekend and worked with him. And he was just giving me tips, pointers, things to work on for, footwork, accuracy, the mental part of the game. So I did about, I think, 4 or 5 sessions with him in the film room and on the field.
And that was so you went to Arizona. So was that like a week-long span that you were there? Because you had a few sessions?
No, I was only there for a weekend. Yeah.
Okay. And what were maybe some of your biggest takeaways from just that experience with him?
Biggest takeaways. And there's a lot of takeaways, but I mean, whenever you have a time to sit in front of a guy that's done it at the highest level, he's a Hall of Famer, he's won a Super Bowl. Really, there was not a big takeaway. I was taking in everything he had to say. He had a lot of great knowledge for me. Being a guy that's again done it, led a team to a Super Bowl. What is expected out of you at the QB position?
Is there anything specifically that you remember that you kind of follow or that you plan on bringing towards your game this season?
Yeah, the biggest thing with Kurt is he's all about footwork and having your back foot planted when you throw. So I think that's one of the biggest things for me that I've had to kind of work on as I've progressed is getting my back foot planted, and being more accurate with the ball. And I think just hearing what he had to say about the techniques of that, that it's going to be good to translate that in my game.
Great. Thanks, Brandon.
Yeah, no problem.
Morning, Brandon. Thanks for doing this. I guess a pretty basic question for you, but what would you consider taking the next step as an individual to be this season?
The next step? What do you mean?
Just kind of like progression and meeting some of your goals that you have set for yourself this season.
Oh, I got a lot of goals, but I think the biggest one, Coach Rod wants me to work on is, just working on the completion percentage. It was kind of low last year. I think if I get that up a little bit, it'll be easier for us to move the chains a little bit.
That kind of leads me to my second question. You talked about it a little bit. Jeremy asked you, but as that relationship has grown with Rod, how much more comfortable have you gotten in the off? And how much more do you think that can help you this season?
Sorry, you kind of cut out a little bit.
Oh, sorry, my bad. As the relationship that you have with Rod has grown, how much do you think that can just really help you this season, considering how weird this last couple months has been?
Yeah, definitely. That's huge. Over the summer, we've had a lot of opportunities to get together as an offense, and as players with coaches. But you know, definitely it's definitely a weird time, only 8-game season, all that stuff. But again, I mean, me and Coach Rod, I feel like we've always been on the same page, always had that constant communication, you know, and that's what you need to be successful.
Thanks, Brendan.
Yeah.
Hey, Brandon, great to see you again. Been a long time. You got some new receivers, and you got Luke Ford eligible. You got Daniel Imatorbhebhe now. What's it been like working with some of these new guys and establishing those connections with them?
Yeah, I mean, for those guys, again, they're coming in a new offense. They got to learn some new stuff. So, you know, we're still working out some kinks and bumps a little bit. But, you know, Daniel, he's a great athlete. He's a big body, catches the ball well. Same with Hightower. He's a big body. He's physical. He's strong. But for those guys, it's just getting more comfortable with their reads and what they need to do in the offense, so they could play at a faster pace.
Gotcha. You and Josh Imatorbhebhe seem to really hit it off. What do these big target guys who, you know, also bring a lot of athleticism, how does that help you as a QB, just finding those guys on the field?
Yeah. It makes it easier to, you know, throw the ball at a higher plane. You know, when you got a big body, you can kind of use their size as leverage. And you saw that a couple of times last year with Josh. You know, I was just giving him a chance to go make a play on the ball. That's what he did. So, I mean, those big body guys we can use to our advantage, you know, in quick game and you know, down in the red zone.
Thanks.
Hey, Brandon, good to see you again. Last year in the bowl game, your diving attempt for a first down, it's sort of grown a little bit in Illini fandom. It's got a small legend status to it, I guess. It's become a rallying point. Do you feel the same way? Is that something that stuck with you months later, that moment?
No. I mean, I'm a competitor. I'm going to do what I got to do to win. So, I mean, for me, I was just trying to make a play. It wasn't trying to be anything heroic or anything like that. But, I mean, it's kind of cool that people think of it like that. But in my mind, no, I'm not thinking of it like that.
Was it something out of the ordinary for a quarterback in your mind? Or something extraordinary for you to do?
Again, I was just, you know, just playing in the moment. Given the certain circumstances and situation, we were down 2 possessions, 4th down, so got to get the first down somehow. So I just tried.
With the season last year, with its great ups and the downs as well, has there been something that's come out of that and been fuel for you in the off season and going into this year? Is there something that's sort of stuck with you, or is there something else that's sort of motivating you into this year?
I think the biggest thing for us as a team is starting the game faster. Because if you look last year, we've started a lot of games slow and kind of dug ourselves in a hole, which a couple of times we were able to come back from that. Michigan State game, of course. But, you know, you can't do that consistently and expect to win games. So I think the biggest thing as a group, myself personally, is, you know, getting the offense off to a bigger, better start so we don't dig ourselves in that hole.
Thanks, Brandon. Good luck.
Yeah, thanks.
Brandon, thanks for doing this. Good to see you again.
Yep.
You're a year now, obviously, in Champaign, off the field, playing a comfort level to get into a routine just in your everyday life, knowing where things are at. I mean, you in that flow, how does that help you?
Sorry, can you ask that again?
Yeah, so I mean, just having that comfort level in Champaign, you know where things are at. You've been there for a year. I mean, do you feel more settled in, and how does that help you?
Yeah. So last year I was living by myself, so I got really bored sometimes. So it's cool now. I live with Doug and McCourt and Boback. So, you know, just having those guys around is just chill sometimes, having that comfort level of having your teammates around. Yeah, I mean, I feel even more part of the team. Not that I never didn't feel a part of the team, but, you know, I feel a closer bond with everybody on the team, having having this year under my belt and all that. So, I mean, yeah, it's all good, comfortable, feeling good.
And, you know, Illinois is a program that had recent success from transfers, you know, whether it be sit out or graduate. What was it that appealed to you, and why do you think that this coaching staff has had that level of success and, you know, kind of selling themselves as a place to accept these transfers?
I don't know. That might be a question for Coach Rod and them. But I don't know.
What do you like about the pitch?
Yeah, I mean, Coach Lovie, you know, he offered me a great opportunity. You know, when I came on my visit, he told me, he said, Brandon, you could be the face of this team. It's a Big Ten team. I mean, that's basically what he sold to me. He's like, why would you want to go to a lower level MAC school and, you know, not be in the Big Ten was his big selling point to me. And, you know, I was like, yeah, I mean, that makes sense. So.
And I got to ask you, growing the hair out, I mean, is this a casualty of quarantine? What's going on?
I haven't cut it since January. So, I mean, quarantine, I guess, has kind of had an effect. But, yeah, I don't know what I'm going to do with it, honestly. Just right now, I'm not even worried about it. So.
Thanks, Brandon.
Yeah.
Brandon, over the summer, repeatedly, Coach Lou Hernandez had cited you as a top performer during the summer workouts. And I had heard in your camp that you had worked with a personal trainer over the summer. I just kind of, what were your goals for your body over the summer to, you know, get yourself a little bit fitter and get yourself, did you have specific, hey, I want to make sure my body is this, I want to get down to a certain number, whether it's, you know, body fat percentage or whatnot. Did you have specific goals in mind, or was it just something you did and then it just worked out?
Yeah, I definitely did. Last year I actually played at I think my lowest body weight last year was like 212, 211. So I was pretty skinny. Which, I mean, that's not great when you're playing in the Big Ten, you're taking those hits. So, I mean, when this all happened, I thought it was a great opportunity for me to seek out some guidance on, you know, getting my body ready for the season. And I worked out with a guy in Detroit, Nate Collins. He's a great, he trained some NFL guys, some Detroit Lions players. So having that opportunity, it was good. I worked on mobility, strength, and speed. So we really hit it all. But my big goal, I mean, we're hoping to start in September, was to be at 230 to start the season, which I was around 227, 228. Now I'm like 220. So, I mean, I think if I'm in the range of 220, 225, that's not a bad weight to be.
What did that entail? I mean, are you, I don't mean to joke, but are you doing like the Bryson DeChambeau thing of like 3 protein shakes a day, or what did that entail to try to get your body fat or body mass up without exactly having, you know, your fat percentage go down and whatnot, and all these types of things that you can do from a muscle standpoint?
Yeah, for me, it was just, you just got to eat, and then you got to eat the right stuff. So I was actually cooking a lot of my own food. And I thought that was an easier way to do it, rather than, you know, trying to, you know, get stuff from carry out or takeout, stuff like that. So, I mean, it was nothing crazy that I was cooking. I mean, it was like chicken and rice and, you know, like a salad, nothing crazy.
And lastly, I know this might be a stupid question, but did you learn anything that you kind of took for granted about nutrition and that during that summer, and that it can translate throughout your, you know, as you go on as an athlete?
Yeah, I mean, so since my days in Michigan, they've always been, you know, super informative on nutrition, and what to put in your body, because I mean, it plays a huge factor into the season as it goes on. You know, the season can be long. So, you know, putting the right stuff in your body is going to keep your body fit and, you know, feeling healthy. So, I mean, I wouldn't say that I learned anything new from this experience. You know, I just had to try some new things out that I had never tried before. But, you know, all in all, I mean, mean, since I've gotten to college, they've been. I mean, I feel like any program you go to is going to be good at like informing you about nutrition and stuff.
Thanks, Brandon. I appreciate it.
Yeah.
Hey, Brandon, I'm just wondering, kind of looking back at last season, you guys were kind of an underdog in a lot of those matchups, were able to kind of surprise some people. I think mainly outside of that locker room, I think you guys had a lot of belief that some other people maybe didn't. Do you guys still kind of have that underdog mentality, or are you kind of taking last year's success as you're a team that should be kind of talked about a little more in the Big Ten this year?
Yeah, I feel like if you think about anybody outside of the program, they're going to think of Illinois as an underdog. But seeing what we have coming back this year, how comfortable we feel, with everything, even with the COVID stuff going on. We got some older guys on the team. We've got guys that have played a lot. So, from our players' perspective, coaches' perspective, we don't feel that we're underdogs at all. And you never want to, approach a game feeling like, oh, I'm an underdog and probably going to lose this game. But, rather use that to motivate yourself to go out there and, defeat a team that thinks that they're better than you.
You mentioned some of those returners. You got a really strong group at offensive line in front of you. Does that kind of maybe put your mind at ease knowing that that's probably something that you're not going to have to think about too much and give you just a little more time to, get a new rapport going with some of these new weapons that you've got as well?
Yeah, our O-line, again, a lot of them have been 3-year starters, I think. KG will be a 3-year starter. Darian, Doug, Palcho. We're going to, right guard, we're seeing who's going to fit that position right now. But, with those guys and that senior leadership there, I think, we could, the sky's the limit in the run game and the pass game. Like I said earlier, the new guys, we just got to, keep getting them reps so they can get comfortable with the offense and Coach Rod's scheme.
Thanks, Brandon.
Yep.
Hey, Brandon, long time no see. Like the hair.
Appreciate it.
What are the things that you used to be able to do that you can't do now because of the pandemic? Are there things you really miss that you're not able to do, or you have to kind of, do them differently?
Yeah. I honestly can't think of much, to be honest with you. Most of the time we're in football. Like, you go to football, you do your workout, you go home and chill. A lot of it, me, McCourt, and Doug, we did a lot of golfing. So, COVID didn't really affect that because, the golf course was open and stuff. So, for my perspective, it hasn't changed a lot because I'm not a person that, like, outside of football, like, gets out and, like, does a lot. But,
Okay.
Yeah.
Are you able to spend as much time with your family as you would like, or is that not possible?
Yeah, I've spent a lot of time with my family, actually. Being an hour and a half, hour 45 from home. This summer, I was, able to go home a lot on the weekends, which was nice. And having that constant testing that we did, ensure that, I didn't have COVID because I live with my grandma and she's in her 80s, so she's definitely a high risk. So
of course,
anytime I went home, I had to be sure that, it was safe for her.
Last thing, this year is kind of a bonus year for all the players. I don't think it's going to count in terms of eligibility. Have you thought at all about 2021, or is that down the road?
Sorry, I said again?
This year's not really counting in terms of eligibility.
Mm-hmm.
You could come back conceivably in 2021. Have you thought about that at all?
I'm focused on this year. When the decision comes, it'll come. But as of right now, I'm just, focused on the end goal this year.
Thanks, Brandon. Great talking to you again.
Yeah, thanks. Good.
Thanks. Good seeing you.
Thanks, Brandon. Appreciate it.
Yep, I'll see you.
Thanks, Brandon.
Brandon.
guys all good?
Off tomorrow, correct?
No Lovie, but I'm gonna try to do a few players. So there's no practice, it's just meetings. So it's not like a full off day, so I can still do interviews. If it's like a real off day, I'm not allowed to do interviews. So it's confusing, I know, but I'm going to try to do a few players since they should have some more time.
Thanks, Brett. Appreciate it.
Yep. See you guys.
See ya. Thanks.